The San Antonio Spurs are a team coming into the season that everyone, including Greg Popovich, thought were going to be tanking and would be at the bottom of the league. But things haven't started out that way at all, and the Spurs are somehow through 7 games sitting at 5-2 as one of the top teams in the Western Conference. Obviously this isn't going to last, but the Spurs have played with so much heart, and they're showing us why the young core they have is here to stay for the long haul. And who knows, maybe the Spurs can keep playing out of their minds and be in contention for the playoffs come April, but for now, let's just enjoy their hot start. In this video, as you can tell, I'm going to be talking all about the San Antonio Spurs and how they have shocked the NBA through the early parts of the season. It will be interesting to see if the Spurs are actually the real deal, but they have been looking like it so far. Anyways, now since the NBA season is finally starting to roll around, I'm going to be pumping out as much content as possible, so I would really appreciate all of your support. It only takes 5 seconds to like and subscribe, plus you can always change your mind. I'm now on the road to 7K subscribers, and I know you all can help me get there very fast. And by the way, thank you all for helping me get past 6K, it truly means the world, and we are just growing super fast right now. So as I've already said, the Spurs are a team that nobody expected to do anything this season. Even Hall of Fame head coach Greg Popovich said in an interview before the season that if you're going to Vegas, don't bet on the Spurs this year, which is pretty hilarious actually, that an NBA coach said that. Anyways, the Spurs roster is just filled with so much young talent, they all play hard and together, and obviously they are very well coached. It's funny to me how this past offseason they dealt away their star in Dejounte Murray for a ton of picks, and now they are playing even better. It was super clear before the season that the Spurs built this team to tank. They traded away everyone, they have a ton of new players, but Pop said it best. They are playing well because they're all super young and they don't know anything else but winning. Just a few days ago, the Spurs got a huge statement win against the Minnesota Timberwolves, and that was the one that caught everyone's eye and made us realize the Spurs might be on to something. Not only did they beat the Wolves, but they held them to 98 points while missing key players like Devin, Vassell, and Josh Richardson. What they are doing right now is just incredible. And with all the drama that happened with Josh Primo and how inexperienced they are, all the signs point to a team that should be almost winless right now, but instead they are competing with the best. The key to the Spurs' success in that Timberwolves game and also this whole season has been great shooting and great rebounding. Keldon Johnson has turned himself into the star of the team, averaging about 24 points per game, along with 5 rebounds and 4 assists. And on top of that, he's been shooting a lights out 43% from behind the arc. It seems like now that he's the guy and he's had the green light on offense, everything that he was bottling up last season is all being unleashed at once. And it's happening to a few guys around the league, like Lauri Markkanen with the Jazz. Again, talking about that Wolves game, the Spurs actually only shot 42%, so in that one they relied on their grit to pull out the win. It was not pretty at all, but they got the job done. It's honestly so weird how many times the Spurs have played Minnesota, and we're only 7 games into the season. Anyways, as I was saying earlier, the world is starting to recognize what the Spurs are doing, and in the most recent official NBA power rankings, they were number 12. And honestly, I think they've been playing better than a lot of teams ahead of them, but of course everyone knows there's a 99% chance that they will come back down to earth very soon, and that's what I want to get into next. So I preach this in all of my videos, and I'm gonna say it once again. In the NBA, you either want to be a really good team or a really bad one. But for the Spurs, they actually have a very different situation in that they now own a lot of future draft picks, so I don't really see a legit reason to tank. Now eventually, I do think it will happen, they just don't have the talent for this to last the whole season. I know a lot of Spurs fans might get mad at me for saying that, but I can promise you they won't be a top 6 seed this year, and if they somehow are, you can all come back to this video and bash me, but Greg Popovich is so good at building winning cultures and getting young rosters to buy into his system that they might be contenders for the final 10 seed come the end of the year. And I'm sure if you told that to any Spurs fan before this season started, they would have been beyond happy. Moving on, another player I really want to talk about is Devin Vassell, because he's looking like he could also have a breakout season this year. Even though he's injured, so far this season he has averaged just under 20 points per game to go along with 5 rebounds and 4.5 assists. And he's really been stepping it up on the defensive end, and along with that, he's been shooting behind the arc at almost 40%. Let me know in the comments below if you think the Spurs can actually continue to win, or do you eventually think they will come back down to earth? They definitely are one of the more fun teams to watch this season, and I just love how unpredictable the NBA has been. One last thing I want to cover before I wrap up this video is how deep this team actually is. Now, they don't have a lot of big names, but even the guys off the bench who haven't provided a lot of scoring are all contributing to winning in some way. Even guys like Zach Collins, Josh Richardson, and Romeo Langford have been doing the little things off the bench that add up to wins. For example, Langford didn't have the best shooting night in the recent game against the Wolves, but he had 2 steals and a block, and things like that are just how this team plays. The whole team is always in the right spot at the right time, they read passing lanes, they move in transition, and overall, I've said it so many times already, they just play a winning brand of basketball, and no matter what happens in the future, they're going to stay that way, or at least until Popovich retires. Even Doug McDermott has averaged 12 points a game, shooting a blistering 45% from behind the arc. This is just a team of absolute snipers. So I really do hope this team stays together for the most part this season. Like I said, they're going to come back down to earth, and a few vets might get traded for future picks and prospects, but I just don't see a need for this team to be tanking, especially with the fact that you only get a 14% chance at best to get the number 1 pick. And also, even though there's a generational prospect looming, you never know who could be a bust. Again, for one last time, this team is just so exciting and coming off another huge statement win. Again, for one last time, this team is just so exciting and coming off another huge statement win. I think the NBA is finally starting to take notice that this team could perhaps be a real threat to win on any given night. That's all I have to say in this video. There has just been so much craziness going on in the NBA so far this season, and I love it. I covered a lot, and obviously there is so much more to talk about. I cannot wait for this season to get going. I'm going to continue to pump out as much content as possible, so I would really appreciate it if you would join me for the ride. I'm on the road to 7K subscribers, and I believe y'all can help me get there. Also, one more thing, make sure to comment below what you want to see next. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and until next time, I'll see you all later.